Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening, we are going to adjust the agenda just a bit and begin with a presentation and a congratulations to our volleyball team. Robert Grant, would you like to take over? Oh, I'm sorry. I've got one thing I have to do first. We do have to, first of all, approve a motion, please, to approve the agenda. Linda, Izetta, all in favor? That motion is passed, and now we'll proceed with the presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Mrs. Roberts Grant, the athletic director, and I wanted to thank everybody who was able to make it out to our special dinner celebration for the boys' varsity volleyball team. They were acknowledged for a very special award, and so I'm going to read to you the letter that we got from the Section 5 Officiating Association on their behalf. On behalf of the Central Western Volleyball Officials Board, we would like to congratulate Chris Ackley, the NRWHS Boys Varsity Volleyball coach, the team, and the fans for winning this year's Gary Adler Sportsmanship Award presented by the CWVO. Each year, since he ultimately passed, the volleyball officials present a plaque in Gary's honor to the team, coach, and fans who display the best sportsmanship of all the teams we officiate throughout all of Section 5. After every match, an official works, he or she ranks the team, the coach, and fans on their behavior before, during, and after the match based on a ranking from 1 to 10. These rankings are then averaged out over the season for an end-of-season total. This year, the NRW Boys Varsity Volleyball team totaled 9.38 out of 10 points, and again, congratulations, they have been named the Gary Adler Sportsmanship Section 5 Award winners. Congratulations. I'll call each player down. We have a special certificate for them, and then they also earned a plaque, and then we'll take a picture right over here in front of the stage. First, we have Justin Bachman. Nicholas Barnes. Gordon Foro, unfortunately, couldn't make it here tonight, but I have a certificate. And then we have Gordon Howie. Maxime Leverall. Connor Majak. Quentin Norris. Nolan Sears. And Kobe Scooby. And last but not least, Coach Christopher Ackley.
That's one. We miss Chris.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
As we proceed in the agenda, I would like to introduce all of you to our interim superintendent, who is here at my right. This is Mr. Scott Bishopson, a very experienced superintendent, and we're delighted to have him on board and know that he is going to steer us well and do good things for us. So thank you for being here and being with us. We will proceed with the agenda as it's written. First, next is SWFDR and campus construction.
Hi everybody. I'm going to start with a brief overview or an update of this current status of the middle school, and then Steve can come in with some of the design components if that's necessary, and then we'll open up the Q&A. So,
can you get a little closer to that mic, please?
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Is that better? Our update for this month in terms of the construction status of the middle school. Roofing did start, so you remember last month we were still waiting through the logistics of getting the roofing underway. We're glad to report that it is underway. The roofing contractor is on site. They had a fairly good week last week until the weather came in towards the end on Thursday and Friday. They lost a day at the start of this week. They cleared snow today, and we hope to be getting more production between tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday's forecast is kind of dicey. So the good news is they're probably a little better than a third across that third floor. So it's a complicated scope, if you remember. There was, we're doing a full tear off and replacement of even right down to the deck. So it's been successful, we would say. They're, now that they're mobilized, they're keeping up with the anticipated schedule that we had worked with them on, so that's good. Inside the building, they're underway with finishes on the second floor. So if anyone had a chance to do a tour, I'm not sure if you have in the last week or so, but finishes are actually underway, so it's bringing the space together. The third floor is still shut down because of the roofing operations. We can't get in there. And then the first floor is still under raw pins. So it's pretty well framed out. Most of the framing is complete, and the MEPs are rough in all the mechanicals. So overall, the progress is pushing forward. Tonight, you're going to see another significant round of change orders that we've been working on. We advised the board of at the last update in early January. They did not make the January 28th agenda, but they're on for tonight. So you're going to see that. For us, that's going to open up, that's really the confirmation and approval of the middle school redesign that we've been talking about. We've been wading through all the reconciliations and whatnot. So this will put us in a position to confirm with the contractors the approval of the redesign, which will then generate, it's got a ripple effect that's really kind of restraining us from doing a real good evaluation of the overall schedule. So after tonight, upon a successful approval tonight, we'll feed the information to the contractors tomorrow. That will allow them to reconfirm their purchase orders and things for the long lead materials. And then they can feed us the data back on what that means for production and delivery on site. So we've been asked from the administration, rightfully so, to do an analysis and a report of, a snapshot of what the schedule, basically working towards the finish date, but how we're going to get from now to the finish. We've been not reluctant, but we've been unable to kind of achieve that in an accurate sense because we need the information from the contractors, which hopefully tomorrow will help promote. With our current roofing status, and if we allow the schedule function to work as programmed, it does still put us out towards the end of August, early September. We know that doesn't work for the district. in terms of the movement plan or to be ready for the school year. So we are asked, and we're going to be tasked with doing some analysis of, what that means for the district, what the potential schedule cost and program impact is. We're working on that. I don't have an update tonight, but we are cognizant of that, and we do know that we're going to have to do a study to see what the overall finish ends up looking like with knowing its current status now. We're, in terms of budget, you see the change orders that are in front of you. Those are already, for everyone's reconfirmation, they're already accounted for in the budget. So we do think financially we're still able to finish the project financially. The district's still stable with the decisions that we've already made. So as we keep, I reported last month, there's still a significant amount of change management. We have done estimates and budget management to account for the future change orders that are forthcoming with the information that we know today. So there's a bunch of open construction issues that we've got estimates in the budget for, so that we're projecting accurately to be able to finish the project. Any questions? Comments? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Could you elaborate on the redesign of the arcade ceiling? I'm just a little bit unaware of what we need to do and what it used to look like and what it's going to look like in the future, please.
Sure. The redesign involves the simplification of a number of the ceilings in the project. Originally, the arcade ceiling was a vaulted ceiling, so kind of a semicircle that was plastered, and that plaster was removed as part of the overall abatement of that building. The original plan was to put back a vaulted ceiling. One of the issues that the redesign encountered in terms of field conditions was the deteriorated stability of the wall between the arcade and the auditorium. That masonry wall was in a deteriorated state and had to be removed. When we removed that wall, the framing system that created that arch had to be removed as well. So as part of the ceiling, as part of the wall removal, we lost the subframe system that created the arch, because it was engaged with that masonry wall that was no longer stable and needed to come down and be rebuilt. And as part of the ceiling simplification, we put back a flat ceiling. So there'll be a lay-in ceiling similar to other suspended acoustical ceilings in other corridors. So the arcade corridor will have a flat suspended ceiling similar to the other corridors in the building.
Will it be higher than the corridors adjoining it?
I think there's a little stepping to it, but it's
either equal or higher. It's either equal or higher to the corridors that are adjacent to it.
Okay.
With the exception of the vestibule ceiling, the original vestibule ceiling, that's at its original height from what it was prior to the project.
The very front.
The main doors there, the original main entry doors, I'm sorry. Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
John?
I've been looking at the pictures of the construction and also your notes, and I just have a question, and not being a construction person, is the chiller piping, is that for air conditioning?
Yes.
Okay, these are these big things coming down.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought, but.
Yeah.
Okay. So the entire building will have air conditioning then?
That's correct.
Okay. And can you describe what the auditorium will look like?
Yeah. The intent of the design for the auditorium is essentially going to be similar to what it was. The goal at the beginning of the project was to not affect the character of the building, or character of the auditorium, which I think was a request of the board actually during design. So we tried our best to not affect that. We did take off, if you remember, there was imitation travertine is what this, it's a stone that was had a asbestos mastic holding it in. We did take that off as part of the abatement project, and we're putting back, again, as the original base bid of the design, putting back I'm not sure if it's ceramic tile, but a tile that mimics that original imitation travertine. And then the seating is all new, flooring is all new throughout the space, and then refinishing, I believe we're refinishing, I've got to reconfirm the drawings on this, but I'm almost positive we're refinishing the wood face of the stage. And then the stage floor is being addressed also, along with curtains. The main front curtains are being addressed also.
We should also mention that the ceiling, which is a vaulted ceiling, the asbestos-containing plasters were removed, but that original grid of soffits remains, and we're putting new ceiling back where the asbestos plaster was removed. So as Dave mentioned, the character is similar, but with the asbestos-containing materials gone and similar appropriate materials replaced.
And we also added, as part of the air conditioning for the entire building, those components of the ceiling needed to be removed in order to run ductwork above the ceiling to provide air conditioning for the auditorium.
And on the floor of the auditorium, I noticed a whole bunch of little lines. Is that electrical? On the actual floor?
It's aisle lighting, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be aisle lighting for the as part of the emergency egress.
So in the old days, what we had to do was the controls for a lot of the musicals and things they had was on a display board up at the back of the auditorium, and we had to run electricity up there. Are those electrical lines going to be open?
No, those are all being hidden in the walls.
Oh, okay.
What you're seeing on the floor is for pure emergency egress and lighting for when it's dark for a show that people can still see egress happen.
Good. And how about the lights?
The lights are being refurbished. The existing lights, the original lights are being refurbished and relamped. I'm almost positive, I'll double check, but to LED fixtures.
Good.
To LED bulbs, I'm sorry, not fixtures.
That would be a critical thing in the community.
Yes, so
Yep.
the intent, and always has been and always will be, to refurbish those fixtures. They're secured safely inside the building right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Excuse me.
All right, then we'll move on to reports. Starting with the principals, elementary school. Melissa? Okay.
Good evening. Does that sound like I'm talking into the microphone? Okay. Sorry. No, stop. I can't have you looking at me. That's like close. So I just wanted to address a couple of the questions shared by the board about my report. Is that better? Okay. I'll take a step back so it doesn't scream at us. The first, I wanted to address the pie chart that was in my report. I apologize. I had selected for the previous report all 3 years. You can see the 3 years differential of data, and it had tallied that data in the pie chart. I tried tonight several times to print for you, but being from the other building, my printer won't work in the options here, so I apologize that there was a tech hurdle. But that being said, what you will notice in that pie chart, please, is the fifth selection down is documentation. That marks 223 referrals. That is over a 2-year period, not including this year. This is the piece I've tried to share, but maybe I wasn't very articulate about it. We've changed the way that we record referrals. That's a huge part of the decrease in numbers. That documentation is no longer an option. What's happening instead is classroom teachers are marking that as classroom referral, and it's going into a separate system, a separate poll. So when teachers were already marking that documentation that they were taking care of referrals in their classroom, you can see quite a high number at 223 over 2 years. That's no longer an option. So that entire bucket of data is now pulled out. So the handling of discipline in the classroom has remained the same, but the reporting for that one component has shifted. So that's a huge part of why we see a decrease in our numbers. Not that teachers are handling the conflicts within the classroom differently necessarily, but they're no longer marking it as documentation. Now they're taking it as a classroom referral, which is in the school tool, just pulling it to a different space. So I've tried to share that, but I know it's difficult to necessarily see it within the numbers. So in the reverse, the top offense right now still remains non-compliance with expectations, but this year it has been at a total number of 67 compared to that 3-year poll of 480. And then we see conduct endangering others being at 42 referrals. And so from there it's going to decrease. By the time you get to threats, it's down to 6 and below for the remainder. So I'll try again to have that data pulled for you and shared, and I apologize, I just couldn't print it tonight. So I'll pull it for you for just this specific year, both the bar graph you saw on the previous page as well as the pie chart. Additional questions?
I guess not. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Middle school, Mr. Matthews.
Good evening, everybody. So I shared another chart with you. I know everyone loves when I share these charts, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult just looking from the outside to really understand what they're representing. I tried to outline a little bit of what we're seeing. This is our first run through with AIMSweb. So we've had a fall administration of AIMSweb in reading and math and a winter. And so the two triangles would show differences between the number of students that fall into the Tier 3 columns, Tier 2 columns, and Tier 1 columns. So the reason I provided it was to give you an idea of what tools are available to us. In this case, you can see that there are more students appearing at Tier 1 in the winter than there were in the fall. So that would be an indication that at Tier 1, we're experiencing some success. We're moving some students forward so that they don't necessarily require Tier 2 interventions anymore, according to AIMSweb. So this is an example of a chart. We have individual reports, and that's how we reorganize all our interventions every quarter. We move students in and out of those intervention groups. Once they achieve a specific threshold, we move them out and we move other students in so they can get the help. So again, I know my charts are not always very clear. We're definitely up for any questions about any aspect of the report.
John?
Well, Mark, I like the picture of the Rotarians, the students getting Rotary acknowledgement. That was very nice. I know they do it on a monthly basis, but it's nice to have it in the paper. It was also nice to reward kids for perfect attendance. And I think the best part of it was in a way that they liked. It wasn't like what we would like. It was real to them, which is meaningful. So congratulations. I think it's a great job doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will have our materials ready for tomorrow, sir, for the collection of the time capsule materials. What time? I'll email you.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Anyone else? That's all.
Did you say that you're talking about the time capsule?
Yes, sir.
Could you say that again, please?
Mr. Bogart and I have been working on a time capsule that's going to be put in the new middle school, and we've been working on some things that we're going to include in the time capsule. We've asked student council to help us out with some of the things that will go in there, and just a couple of letters and other things that the students on a yearbook, a list of names, staff, things like that, so that people finally in the future would maybe be able to look back and remember us.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Jordan, high school.
My first bit of news, I need Kennedy to join me. Kennedy has no idea I'm going to do this tonight. Hello, dear. Tonight when you all get home, open up your emails, and there's a photograph of Kennedy, and underneath it, it says, Student of the Month. Congratulations to Kennedy. I'm pretty sure that the same piece of paper was in your board report, but I just wanted to go over it very quickly to make sure everyone understood the numbers. In this year's graduating class, otherwise known as Cohort 2016, we have a total of 91 students. 5 of those students are destination unknown. They've gone somewhere else. We can't connect them to a new school, so unfortunately that's a negative. And 1 student was moved back to grade 11. So that means 85 students out of the total cohort 91 should graduate, which will bring the graduation rate to 93.49. That's the highest possible graduation rate. The next statistic is just amazing, and I know I sound like a broken record, but the instruction here at the high school is outstanding. Out of those 85 students, only 4 need a Regents exam. That really is unheard of at this stage of the game. Each of those 4 students is enrolled in the class and an intervention class and a one-on-one tutorial for, I hate to use the word test prep, but that's what those 4 need. So they have all the interventions and all the possibilities to be successful on those Regents exams. 17 out of those 85 just need some coaching. They have the schedule, they're borderline passing, but the good part, none of them have attendance issues. They're here every day. So we have interventions in place. The target for us to hit for this year's graduating class is 93.49, which is just outstanding. So, any questions? Paul, thanks for your visit last month. Again, I extend it to anyone else who'd like to come over and spend some time. You're welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for such good news. Thank you very much. Kelly isn't here. We'll move on to Mrs. Roberts-Grant.
Good evening again. In my board report this month, I did a quick snapshot again of district attendance comparative from February of 2019 to February 3rd of this month. And again, we are ahead in gains in every building this year compared to attendance last year, even with the flu and everything that's been going on. So huge kudos to each school for all their attendance interventions. Next, for the good news in the athletic department, I showed a picture of the 6 students who were nominated and selected to attend the Student Leadership Conference that we went to at Bushnell's Basin. It was a wonderful day, and the topic was how to change culture and climate with a focus on accepting diversity and creating inclusion. There was 4 different workshops they rotated through. We had a table discussion afterwards, and I've already seen great gains with the information that they brought back. And we're going to do some more tabletop work and see how they can spread that information to the rest of the student-athlete population. On the next page, a big kudos to the girls' volleyball program. They did a community service project to raise money for breast cancer and raised $589.75 for the Breast Cancer Coalition. And I took a picture there of some of the teammates who were there to give the check over to the representative, and a picture of the girls at the face painting station. And I put a schedule here, quickly a snapshot of the athletic events here going on in February. This past weekend, we just already had 2 great accomplishments with the wrestlers going to sectionals on Saturday. 7 of them are going to be heading over to Brockport for super sectionals. And then our indoor track championships, we had a champion in the high jump. Isabella DeFeo won the high jump in all of Wayne Finger Lakes. Ryan King came in second in the 3200, and I'll be putting that on my next board report. So any sectional updates, look forward to the website to see any future updates on those dates that come out. Any questions?
Thank you, and thank you again so much for the presentation to the volleyball team. That was wonderful. Bridget, our community schools administrator.
Good evening. In my report, I updated you on our after-school discovery program and the LIFT program. And in my report, I shared with you the workshops that our students are enrolled in, and I wanted to give you a little bit more information on how our students choose which programs they're going to be enrolled in. So at the high school, the teachers choose which programs they'd like to offer, and then the students sign up each month for the courses that they'd like to take. At the elementary school, it's a little bit different. Each day, when they go to the cafeteria and have their snack, they have the opportunity to pick 2 different workshops, and they just go to those workshops for the day. And we found that by giving them those opportunities to pick every day what they're going to go to, it keeps them really engaged, and it gives them the opportunity to go to as many different things and experience as many different workshops as possible, so they're exposed to different experiences. So the only thing that they have to commit to for a longer period of time are our STEAM workshops, because it's that NASA workshop that I've talked about before, for martial arts, where they've asked them to commit to a month at a time so they can really build their skills in that. Everything else, if you want to do baking on one day and you want to do running club the next day, they have the opportunity to do those things. We really like that idea of giving them student choice. We've also been talking to them about what do you guys like to do, and that's helped us build our different workshops at the elementary school. Any questions?
Oh.
I don't have a question, just a comment. Thank you for including that chart. I had no idea we had that many activities going on after school.
Thank you. That's really, the teachers have been really wonderful about creating a great opportunities for the students and lots of different things for them.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. And Cindy Jones, our student board member and student of the month.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so the musical is quickly approaching, so let this serve as a reminder that we have a new show date and time this year. We will have a show Thursday, February 27th at 6 p.m. In the past, this show has only been available to senior citizens, while this year it will be open for anyone. However, senior citizens in the community will still get in for free on this day. This show is followed by shows on Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. and the matinee on Sunday at 2. In sports news, boys varsity basketball and indoor track and field senior night is Wednesday, followed by girls varsity basketball and cheerleading senior night on Thursday. Finally, I attended a meeting with Mrs. Jordan, Mr. Wojak, Counselor Sean Van Lincoln, Principal of the middle school Mark Matthews, and Head of Transportation Scott Converse, and a fellow senior classmate to discuss next year's school and transportation schedule. Although nothing was finalized at this meeting, it provided great insight for all parties, and we look forward to revisiting the subject again. Any questions? Thank you.
Well, thank you. We will be interested in what transpires with the transportation. At this time, we thank all of you principals and directors for being here, and our student rep. So if you'd like to leave the meeting at this time and get home so you can say hello to your families before heading out in the morning. Thank you for being here. Does anyone here on the board have other good news they'd like to share? Nice to see you. Paul?
I have a whole folder of good news. You have good news also? At the last board meeting, I think we approved the mechanic position, so that's in the...
And you've got to pull that mic a little closer.
Okay, how are we doing?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay. So I was saying in the last board meeting, I think it was, that we approved that mechanic position, so that was in the shopper. Ms. Roberts-Grants just mentioned that we had 7 wrestlers going to the state. For the sectionals, we had 6, so really good job that the wrestling team's doing. John, you mentioned the Rotary. Yeah, so also the Rotary donated nurses' items to the school nurses. So that was in the paper, and a nice photo here of Catherine Welkley. I want to give credit to Lois. She had a really nice article in the Lakeshore News about that tour we did with Mark Matthews. Then I have a whole host of students that, is it okay if I take the time to read their names for Dean's List?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I want everyone to know that I don't purposely omit people. I just read all the ones that I can have access to. And so I pretty much get it out of the Lakeshore News, and you get some out of the Times, right? Okay, so from Dean's List from Bob Jones University, Emily Ostrowski, a sophomore, again from Wolcott. Nicole Durizio down at Wells College was on the Dean's List. Finger Lakes Community, we had Sherry Lewis, Brenda Myers, and that's a 3.5 or higher for the Finger Lakes Community. Buffalo State, Annabelle Gregg. And I want to make sure everyone understands, these are all students that have graduated from North Rose-Wolcott that are doing very, very well at their respective colleges. At Clarkson University, we have Elijah Durham and Caleb, I think it's Bergerte, if that's the way you pronounce the name. They're both on the Dean's List. And then to raise the bar, back to Clarkson. Last year, you may remember, we sent 3 young men up to Clarkson. And I'm very pleased to announce all 3 are not just the Dean's List, but they're on the Presidential Scholar. That's a 3.8 or higher. Mason Van Fleet, Connor Leas, and Mike Statsky. And then, if that bar wasn't raised high enough, Anna Marie Durizio over at RIT, another engineering student, had a 4.0 last semester. So again, we're doing something right in the school district. Thank you.
I have a big article we just learned about. NRW presents Little Women in Broadway musical. Nice picture, half page. And also, I was really impressed with the ad that we have in the paper, classified for North Rose-Wolcott High School principal. It was well done. It makes a lot of sense. And it catches the eye, it's in our colors. So whoever did that did a nice job.
Thank you. I want to just reiterate what Paul said about students after our high school who were in college, who are really doing well. It's certainly a tribute to the teachers and what they do here, not only in preparation to get them ready to graduate and go to college, but it's the sustainability of good work habits, good skills, and a good background. So congratulations to the teachers as well. We'll move on to reports. Megan is here. If you had any questions, I'm sure Scott would be happy to take them back to her. If you had any questions. All right, then Bob, anything you want to reiterate on your report?
No, I believe everything's been in my dashboard or my information I forwarded you on capital projects a few times, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone? Paul?
I just want to thank you, Bob. Those are updates on the capital project. They're awesome. Really appreciate it.
Very good.
And Scott?
I just want to thank you for the welcome. I think I'm on day 5 in the district, already I had to call a snow day, which you sort of expect when you're in February. So it's been nice. I've received a warm welcome from all the staff here. Had a chance to meet with the administrators, several of the staff, Bus Raj, some folks out there as well. So I'm looking forward to meeting more people and getting to know the district a little better. It's great to read all these reports from the principals and hear from you all on what's going on as well. That's a quick tutorial, I should say, for the district. So again, thank you for having me aboard.
I'd like to say, too, that in calling a snow day within the first 5 days makes you an extremely popular superintendent.
So since all the other districts closed, I think I would have been rode out of town if I didn't do that.
Last meeting, we did assign an ad hoc policy committee, and John, you're chairman of that. Is there anything you'd like to update us on with that?
Yeah, we're going to have a meeting on the 18th of February at 2 o'clock to discuss them. I understood we had a group of new policies, and we have a couple that we want to re-look at, shall we say. And we didn't have it earlier because our interim superintendent, I didn't really feel that I wanted to belabor him when he was getting used to the district.
All right. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Need a motion for approval of the items 5A through 5M8. Is there a motion? Izetta? Tina?
Before you approve the consent agenda, I need to pull an item on page 4. I need to pull M6. That is not an item that needs board approval. The leave of absence on page 4. So that item is being pulled from the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Any of an old agenda? Did you print yours? Pardon? Jason doesn't have one.
Oh, it's okay, I look at hers. Mine just doesn't have page 4.
You have one of the old ones. You did update yours. The several ones.
Any discussion, questions, comments? Paul?
Yes, quick comment. And, oh gosh, it's item E. So 5E is the single audit report. So I brought mine along. I was part of the audit committee, and I just wanted to say again to Bob, $30 million budget. There were no discrepancies from this year and none from last year. So just well done.
Anyone else? All right. All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Motion is carried. We're on page 5, number 6. A motion to approve the awarding of the bid. Is that right? Yes, it is. All right, a motion, please. John, Linda said your hand was up?
Initially, yes.
All right, and a second, Paul. Okay. A discussion, questions? Hearing none. Tina, would you call the roll, please?
Lucinda?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tina? Yes. Jason?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Izetta?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried.
Thank you. That concludes the agenda items. At this time, I need a motion to go into executive session for the board to discuss the employment history of one specific employee. John, Jason, discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll be going into executive session. And now a motion to approve the resolution, letter of resignation by Matthew Wendell. Motion, please. Tina and John. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. That completes our business. Motion to adjourn. Jason, Isetta? Discussion? All in favor? Tina, are you in favor? Okay. Motion is carried. We are adjourned.